Right, let's get this show on the road. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to the Sutton vs Bradford City pre-match chat. And if you like what you're hearing, come and visit us on the Bradford City Up the Chickens page on Facebook. And also, if you fancy listening to on Spotify and Apple Music and other podcast services, give a search on Bradford City Up the Chickens and also YouTube the Braceage. So, joined by Miss Callie Hall, the lovely godmother. How are you, Callie?
Hall Brian. Hi, everybody.
Are you all right?
All good? I'm just sat munching cheese, so bear with me.
Nice. Oh, got Stan here as well.
Hi, Stan.
So, currently coming live from Sean's house in Bradford, going down to Sutton tomorrow. Just hoping Bradford City do win tomorrow. Sutton are currently bottom of the league. Where are we at the table? So Sutton are currently rock bottom with 7 points. So personally, I think we'll probably lose 1-0 tomorrow.
We always lose at bottom teams, don't we?
Always lose against the bottom teams. So no, you're not going, Callie, but what's your thoughts on the game?
Do you know what? I can't call this one for tomorrow because we had a really bad thrashing, didn't we, Tuesday night? But usually when we've had a bad thrashing, we normally come back as a good unit again and normally win. So I'm going for a win tomorrow.
You're going for a win tomorrow. So
Yeah.
What do you think score's going to be tomorrow?
I'm going 3-1 to us tomorrow.
Ooh. 3-1 Brave. Who do you think's going to score tomorrow then? Put you on spot as well.
I think I'm going for Walker tomorrow because he'll be pissed off because he's been out for his yellow card. So I'm going Walker to score one, Bobby Poynton to score one, and Cookie.
So Cookie Monster's going to score.
He's due one, isn't he, Cookie? He's got to be due one. He's not done much lately, has he?
So we've got Byron. Is it Byron? Brian?
Bryn.
Sorry, Bryn. I can't pronounce names for shit. So Bryn's going to go for 2-0 City. And Caddy Monkey is put, I got to be a loss tomorrow.
Are they speaking or are they just type? Can you type on here and send messages?
You can type on here as well, Callie.
Oh, I didn't know you could do. I didn't know that.
This is okay. Welcome to the 21st century, Callie. I know you and your IT skills are not very good on this.
Hey, lucky I'm even here talking, to be fair.
I know. Is Lenny done it for you again?
Yeah.
So, has anyone got any thoughts on the game tomorrow? Stan or anyone or Charlie, if you want to put a request in or if anyone wants to put a request in. Hoping to do this for about 45 to an hour. So we'll see how it gets on. Right. Mr. Charlie is here. Hopefully. Is Charlie. So, Stan or Charlie, what's your thoughts on the game? Pre-match game, so it's pre-match chat, pre-match, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I've got my tea in the oven, so at some point I'll mute myself. But
we're all scoffing.
Yes,
I
know.
What are you cooking, Stan? Well, most £1,000,000 questions. What are you cooking?
I'm lazy. I'm just fish fingers because I got home and I just fell asleep, so I just put some fish fingers in the oven. But
can't beat a fish finger.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone would. Who's on here tonight went on Tuesday, but it obviously wasn't good. I think it's one of those, isn't it, that with a cliched side that kind of loses to the bottom. But I would imagine that I would hope that the team have something about them to kind of take it out on Sutton tomorrow. I'm not expecting a win, but I think for obvious reasons we should win. So, it's kind of it'd be interesting to see how we bounce back. And Tuesday night wasn't the first big test of Kevin McDonald, regardless of whether he's or isn't going to be a manager. But I think tomorrow's the first big test. Is how you bounce back from a poor game. So that will be interesting to see. And yeah, so I would imagine we should win. I'm going to be like this. I'm never going to predict City matches ever again because I always get it wrong. So.
You always sit on the fence,
I
don't you,
do.
Stan? Always sit on the
It's
fence,
like
lad.
betting on your own team. I don't like doing it, and I don't like making score predictions on City. So, because literally about 99 times out of 100, I get it wrong, and not in a good way either. So, a little bit of superstition on my part, but I think obviously with Walker and Smallwood coming back in, that should, and I would imagine he put Platt back in as well. I don't know what you guys think of that, but I think I'd like to see this lad. Is it Tomkinson?
Yeah, the American dude he's been on disappearing all over the world, and he really playing for international side.
Is he's the American,
He is,
isn't
yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, because he's very, very highly rated at Norwich, and there's Stubbs, especially not Tuesday, but Stubbs the previous couple of games has been a colossus. But I think maybe freshening it up at centre half, put Platt and Tomkinson back on, or Platt back in the side for Taylor. Taylor was okay against Wrexham because he had a couple of big lumps against him. But with anybody that's got like a bit of pace and a bit of movement, then obviously just not good enough, really. So I would put Platt in. I don't know what the deal is with Tomkinson. It might be that this international break has kind of just, kind of scuppered his rhythm a little bit in terms of recovery from flying back and forth. Definitely Walker back in. I think, again, for me, Paddy's had like 2 good games and that's it. That question of like when he was asked at Wimbledon what's the difference, and he said clarity. I mean, I'm sorry, Paddy, but sort of clarity doesn't stop you running. Both forward and backwards, and his positional sense is awful anyway. So I can understand maybe that at that level players need to be told a million times, but that's kind of, to a certain degree, not the manager's fault. But anyway, so Wilson looked okay, but we've got Tulloch there. I'd start him over Paddy, definitely. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, Tulloch. He came on and did, I think, well other day, didn't he, Tulloch? He came on and spiced it up a little bit. Because I didn't go to the MK Dons game, but I know Stan went. Seeing it on telly, I know we were pretty poor, weren't we? Generally, all over. So I think personally, I'll go to the same team what won against AFC Wimbledon.
I don't know. Oh wait, yeah. Sorry. I thought Osadibi started that match, but I don't think he did he?
I'm trying to think if he did or not. He did.
Yeah, he did.
No,
He
I'm
did.
sure he did. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think I'd start him just because of what I saw at MK Dons. I mean, it's great that in the 2 games prior to that he got his 2 winning goals, but I don't think he offers much, in my opinion. I think there's a player in there, but from what we've seen, we don't see good enough qualities from him enough to be able to justify that.
Yeah, I actually forgot that Chapman came back on Tuesday night as well. So obviously he's only going to get maybe another maximum 20 minutes, but he's definitely one to sort of get back into the side, because imagine we've got Chapman, Walker, and Bobby, and obviously Tulloch. You've got some actual quality there, and options. But Chapman will be kind of obviously getting more and more game time. But I agree. I mean, the thing is with Paddy, he's like, you say there's a player in there. I think he's a typical League Two player that he'll do it 2 in every, sort of however many games. And I remember seeing the comments from the Walsall fans when we signed him that is similarly that he's as good as he is bad. But yeah, so I think he's had, for me this season, he's had enough chance to kind of cement a spot in the side, and he's not taking it. So I can very much take him or leave him.
What did you think of Chapman last season? I mean, because I saw a lot of the fans were kind of torn in their opinion of him. Some people thought he wasn't good enough. He wasn't getting like goal involvement. So I thought he was great. I know he didn't.
No, I
Too
100%
much.
agree, Charlie. 100% agree, Charlie. Sorry to cut but because he played that 10 role, didn't he, when Walker was injured, and his work rate is phenomenal. Occasionally, sort of like as most players, to be fair, like that last kind of that final decision making sometimes let him down. But no, massive Chapman fan, and I always use the Tranmere away when we won 2-1. I always use that game as like Exhibit A for like as evidence. I mean, there was one part in the game where they were attacking. It was a foul, but Chapman was back in his own corner flag, and bear in mind he was playing at number 10 and taking the ball out. Do you know what I mean? And work rate. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, I really do like Chapman. I don't mind seeing him either out wide or as a number 10. I think he gives us that option with Jamie Walker.
I think I prefer him out wide. I don't know about you. I think that's a no-brainer. I'm not saying it like it's a hot take, but I think in terms of if we were trying to get the best out of him, we'd put him out wide. And then Walker can play in 10, when he comes. No, Walker's not injured, is he, actually?
No, he was a suspension, wasn't it? Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, I've no problems at all with that, because when he came back from that injury, it took him 2-3 games to pick up form, as it would anyone. But he was, and then it sort of like the 2 or 3 games before Swindon. And I think Chapman kind of picking up that injury there probably, scuppered us in that running. But yeah.
Agree more there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Charlie. I think if we can get him up to speed sooner rather than later, I think that gives us some great options. You got Chapman, you got Tulloch, you've got Wilson, you've got Jamie, you've got Bobby. I think where we are light, and I think that's obviously down to circumstances, is the centre of midfield in terms of options. I think, Smallwood's obviously played well recently, but his suspension obviously put Kevin back in. And just his lack of game time recently, probably it took him about 10, 15, 20 minutes to get into the game, Big Kev. But obviously it's a very difficult ask, in it, in terms of to manage and be on the pitch as well. I'm sure there's stuff he was trying to kind of speak to Truman on the bench. So that's why I'd either like Kev to be manager or just concentrate on the playing, because I think definitely we are one light. I'd love to see Ryan East come back in January, and
just to get more options and stuff.
Yeah, and I'd love to see him. I'd love to see that combination of East and McDonald in midfield. or Easton, anyone really. I'm a big fan of the lad. I
What
think he's,
position does Jake Young play? Because we could do with him. He was a good player, and they sent him out, didn't they?
I think
well.
he's a right winger
Is he?
striker sort of mixture between them two.
He's on.
Right.
He's played on the left, but from what my mate was saying on Tuesday night, he's kind of reverted to type at Swindon, and his stats at the start of the season were, is it like XG or whatever, where he literally had 4 shots and scored 4 goals. But since then, he's kind of, which has skewed his stats, but he's kind of gone back to the inconsistent play, can't even get into the side at the moment, or he's in the side, and the Swindon fans apparently are saying, what the hell does some other player have to do to get in front of Jake Young? Because
Right.
That's my understanding of Jake Young at the moment. So it's always going to be a case, isn't it? If when a player goes, I think partly it was the start of the season where defences are not up to scratch, up to speed. People's fitness are at different levels, and so sort of in terms of the results, they were pretty mental, weren't they? Sort of like really high scoring games and unexpected kind of results.
So with Jake Young, he has played for Swindon in League Two, 13 matches, 9 goals, 4 assists. Striker, left winger, and a centre forward, and he's had a average rating of 6.94 rating. This is according to FootMod app.
But a lot of that would have been earlier, the first few games. That's my understanding of it anyway. As my mate was saying, it's kind of like there was some stat where he was like pretty much out there on his own in terms of like I think it was the XG or something like that, and then he's kind of almost being brought back in, and yeah, so the Swindon fans are kind of not so fussed for him at the moment.
But 9 goals is quite a lot, isn't it? Really.
Well,
So far.
it is, but in the context of what I was saying, it's like you do that over 3, 4, 5 games, and then he went to Barrow, started off well, then faded. He did that with us, So,
how many goals has Cookie put in so far this season?
Well, yeah, but sort of with Cook, you would you look at it over the season, and there aren't any issues other with Cook in terms of, I suppose the only issues with Cook is just he's managing him in terms of like I think Tuesday and definitely Saturday he was kind of cutting a frustrated figure.
In 12 matches, Andy Cook has scored 5 goals and 2 assists.
Compared to what he did last season, it's not good, is it?
It's early days. I don't expect him to have another 30-goal season. I'd say he contributes a fair amount. I think he's more of a channel for the attack now than sort of the final point of attack.
It's like looking at some more stats. Andy Cook, this is from FootMod again. It's 108 appearances, 48 goals so far. That's from 2021 to now. So he's scored 48 goals altogether.
Yeah,
Is Cookie still our leading goal scorer this season? Yeah.
Yeah, there's for me, there's no issues with Cook.
No, I don't have an issue. I'm just trying to compare these players that we've sent out on loan to see what difference is between what they're scoring.
Yeah, but like I say, I think you have to sort of take into account. Cook didn't score for 4 or 5 games. Whatever. He had an injury as well, didn't he? For a few. Was he out for 4 games? He didn't. At Stockport, he could have had a hat trick, and that was like again Cook being that sort of player where if he obviously once something doesn't go right for him or he misses a chance in a game, you can see it playing on his mind, and it's nothing to do with his relative abilities or the work rate, because he puts a work rate in for most part anyway. So I think Cookie's a sort of player that you have to kind of manage. But also, did you guys notice he was bandaged up as well?
Yeah. Do we know what's happened?
I don't. I mean, we were saying, let's hope it's not like a reoccurrence of that knee injury he's had. Hopefully it's just something like recent or nothing to do with that. But I mean, Tuesday night, I don't think he was getting a look in. And I also think as well, with the way that the emphasis is sort of slightly changed, that he is and he isn't, but he's not so much the focal point, like the last point of our moves as he was previously under Hughes. And with when we've got other players which are starting, obviously not enough, but starting to contribute
to
a few more goals.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it does seem that, sort of, I mean, it'll come. I think I think Cook will still probably get between 15 and 20 this season.
He's got to be due a few, hasn't he, just now, surely. If he's, like you say, if he's not injured or not got a niggle, he's got to be due a goal at some point soon, hopefully.
You would hope so, and I hope that with the team as poor as Sutton, that he gets the opportunities, and if he bangs one away, then we're okay, aren't we? In terms of like getting his confidence up again.
Yeah. So Sutton have never beat us, according to stats, in a league game.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, we haven't played them loads of times, have we? I mean, they've only been up 2 or 3 seasons, but
not beat us yet.
Although, again, my mate pointed out, it's all set up. You've got Angle playing for them, you got Dion Pereira playing for them, and you got Amari Patrick. So one of those is going to score against us on Saturday, aren't they?
Yeah, they always do, don't they? Every single time, no matter who it is.
Well, I was joking, as we were, I think 3 or 4-1 down, could have been about 15-0, 15-1 down. I says, MK Dons are going to bring Amari Patrick and Jordan Gibson on out there just to rub it in.
It says here, Lee suffering from tonsillitis and missed the last 2 games, may still be sidelined.
Is that Lee Angle?
Yeah, it's joining the injured Sam Hart. Hisham Kasimu is still injured. I don't even know who these are. Scott Cashket and Craig Eastmond. So they're looking doubtful.
Yeah.
But them names don't mean... Obviously, Lee Angle means something to me, but not the others.
Yeah, I mean, it's more a case of like that ex-player factor in it that you kind of worried about, rather than, sort of Angle could have gone on and done something with us. But I think, again, players at this level, some of them that you find that they're either inconsistent or that they have a level. And I think he's found his level.
Yeah. But they never do well for us, do they? They come in and your expectations are really high, and then they don't seem to do much. Then they leave, and then they start playing really well again. I'm like, why is that sometimes? That's the bit I don't understand with football.
Could be managers not playing them in correct positions and stuff.
Yeah.
Like look at Jake Young.
That's what I mean.
I also feel as well, and it didn't surprise me, but apparently the Oyigorki signing was because he played well for Brentford under 23s against us or something like that, or whatever. And this was before Hughes. So I don't think we're alone in this, but how many teams sign a player because they've played against him and he's had a really good game, he stood out?
I've got one player who stands out on this one. Does everybody remember? Is it Samuel who played for Wolves?
Yeah.
Scored, bought him, or loaned him in, couldn't hit a barn door. Yeah,
and the other lad from, can't remember who it was, but from Wolves as well, I think. Forward as well, a striker, and I don't think we're the only team to do that. But it's kind of like, sort of like, because you think, well, great, he's had a brilliant game against us. How many times, or even if they have they been scouted subsequently, over 2, 3, 4 games to see, was that an anomaly because we were either bad or just the way it was on that day, or is it, is it actually their level? And it's, like you say, often we find players that you kind of they come here and they're average at best. What's your thoughts on that, Charlie? What do you think?
Sorry, I was just crossing the road. What were we talking
Was
about?
there a chicken with you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we were just talking about players coming here and then going away and doing really well. But I said, how many players have we signed based on one game against us? I don't think we're the only side, but there were basically the likes of Samuel and the lad from West Brom, and apparently Oyegoki was the same 2 or 3 seasons ago, where he was basically played a good game for Brentford against us, and then we signed him on loan. So, what's your thoughts on that?
To be fair, I find it interesting more than anything that Oyegoki is an example. Hughes said he wanted him from that game onwards. He wanted to sign him from then on, and I don't know if you disagree with me, because I think he's an okay player. I'm not calling him bad, but with what we tried to do with him, earlier on in the season, it just didn't work. So I don't know. I think our recruitment's always been strange. I don't know if the players maybe come to us and they can't handle it because of the pressure, or what. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that everything's gone wrong, but it feels like it shouldn't be. And then in terms of it always seems like players leave and then do better or score against us. But do you reckon there's any other? I'm sure there'll be loads of other players who've played against us, but we won't remember it because they didn't do well enough,
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't think we're alone in this. In terms of, I'm sure other teams do the same, and I think it's down to how much they put into the actual scouting of a player. Like I've said before in the past, how many times does a manager actually watch a player these days? I don't think they do. Whether it's down to resources or just they get a video and stats and stuff like that. So I don't think. I think that's probably something that maybe at this level, I don't know, that is kind of not as good. But yeah. So I don't know. What's everyone else's thoughts on?
Could I ask you something that I've been wondering myself? I just want to pick your brains on it because I've not really asked many other City fans.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
In terms of the recruitment we got this summer, and obviously everyone sort of disliked it, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
didn't think players were good. Do you think those players were actually? I mean, we've seen with Adam Wilson, it could have just been a moment because that's all it was really. At the end of the day, a moment at the end of a match. But do you think these players that Hughes brought in for his specific tactics? Do you think he brought in good players and just didn't know how to implement them, or just didn't do it right? Or do you think the good we've seen out of them so far it's just been moments?
I think he'd lost the dressing room. I don't think the players wanted to play for him. That's my opinion.
I think in answer to that question, I would have to question again, how have we scouted? Because when Clark came in, he was sort of brought in as a kind of a left wing back, wasn't he? And he kind of then, in early interviews, he's like, I'm not a left back. I'm not a left wing back. I'm more of a number 10 or whatever or on the wing. So I don't know the answer to that, because I would have thought that in terms of it's like Taylor. On paper, you look at it, you kind of look at the stats, and he was whoever's, I can't remember which Scottish side's captain. He, X amount of assists. He's got a long ball. He's got a long throw. So I think it's been a mixed bag. I think some of them have been good enough, and some of them haven't. And I suppose it's the ultimate sort of meta question in terms of like, did Hughes trying to implement the change in formation, did that mean that the players that came in were not appropriate, and then we kind of changed and kind of reverted back to 4-2-3-1? I think that's a really good question, Charlie, and I don't know the answer. I'm sorry, I'm just sort of kind of babbling it on, but I think it's probably a mix where I mean, I genuinely did expect Oyegoki to have better fundamental skills than he has. I remember the pre-season game. I think was it Hull or somebody, and some of the his touch, but his decision making in terms of like where he was passing back to.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
To Harry Lewis, it's like he kept passing to Lewis in a kind of really putting Lewis out of position, if you like, to make a decent sort of goal clearance. And I don't know whether that's just down to he's been used to playing with teams like Brentford or whatever, and the goalkeeper lining up in a certain way, or whether it's just actually, Danny, I think you need to think about what you're doing. And so I can't remember which game it was. I thought, brilliant, this is like the best he's played, and this is probably why we signed him. But again, we haven't seen enough of it. And on Tuesday, I think me and my mate were just like, can't even find the right word. Two moments that summed him up was when that ball bounced over his shoulder, and it's like, what are you doing there? And then when he just kicks it out wide to Brad, and it like reaches Rose's head or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a mix of like players not being good enough, perhaps, as well.
Because with City, every season we always bring in players religiously in the like from higher levels, and I don't know what it is. It's like if you put picture like the Bradford City team, picture putting them in like Salford's ground. There's not a lot of pressure, is there? But as soon as you put them in Bradford City ground, the panic.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, but then that'll always be the case, won't it? You know, because at some point, you know, you get players that play at a high level and don't seem to panic. I know you're talking specifically, I'm guessing, when you're talking about young players maybe coming in or loanees, but, you know, Scott Banks did well. Tyreek Wright did well. I mean, it took him maybe it's just at that age they don't have the consistency, but I think sorry, I've forgotten my point because I'm just putting vinegar on my fish fingers. So
Well, like about these faces, it goes from talking about defence to fish fingers and.
yeah, I mean,
What did we all think about Lewis's performance at MK Dons?
I thought it was poor. Conceded
I
4
did.
goals, hasn't he? Most of the team were poor. Like 2 seconds, let's get the team up. So from Tuesday, MK Dons. So Bradford's lineup on Tuesday was Lewis, Rydall, Stubbs, Taylor, Halliday, McDonald, Gilead, Poynton, Osidebe, Wilson, and Cook. So out of that team there, I would obviously get rid of Taylor because I think he was shocking, especially.
Yeah, he had a really good game the game before that, didn't he?
Yeah, he had one good game, but he gave ball away, didn't he? And I think a dodgy pass. So we take him out, put, I would say, Platt back in there. I would even drop McDonald. McDonald drop himself. Put Smallwood back there, Gilead. Keep
You can't
Poynton.
manage the team while you're in the middle of playing, can you? I don't think you can do that.
And then Osidebe replacing with Walker. And Wilson, probably switch Wilson and Osidebe about.
going back to the first point, I think, yeah, it was Harry. It was the first goal stemmed from a poor first touch from Harry when he sort of kicked it out to Ryde at the left back. Then Ryde tried to clear it, and their player it ricocheted, didn't it? And then it was a lack of concentration for Harry to basically let that go for a corner, which then resulted in their corner. And then as Wilson was going out to close it down, one of their players, Cannily, basically blocked him, didn't he? And so that kind of led to that goal. The second goal, it was quite a distance out. I know it was hit really hard, wasn't it?
That was beauty, that. The second goal. Who do you call him? Jack Payne, were it? Free kick?
Yeah, he used to play for us, didn't he, Jack Payne?
That were a top binner, that goal, what he scored. Absolute cracker. Oh, sorry, we've got another request in, so if you're happy to speak, Tony, I will accept it. And here we go. Tony's coming in.
Hi, Tony.
All right, Callie, thank you. You all right?
Yeah, you.
Just going back to your point on Harry Lewis, I think Harry Lewis has been poor all season so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has.
He hasn't got the competition. That's why he's his first choice.
I mean, but big end of last season, he was saving us games, wasn't he? And I don't think he is so much this season.
No, and I personally, I thought he should. I mean, that header of Mullins last Saturday against Wrexham, it were a good header, but he was in the middle of his goal, and I think he needs to do better there.
Yeah.
But who are we? But I think we'll destroy Sutton tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got a good. I think we're going to come back fighting tomorrow. And I think 9 times out of 10, when we've had a bad result and had a proper thrashing, we do come back fighting. But we normally do.
Fingers crossed, but I think we will. I think we miss Smallwood. I mean, I'm not Smallwood's biggest fan. Don't get me wrong. I am not. But since Hughes has gone, he's a different player altogether.
Yeah, he's playing completely different, isn't he, to what he was under Hughes? Yeah. But obviously not on Tuesday night.
Well, not one of them.
No.
Not one of them put a shift in. That was embarrassing.
What would your team be for tomorrow, Tony?
I would try that kid from Norwich because I've heard good reports on him. I would try him at side of
Who's he? Is that Wilson or is he the American or Wilson? I can't remember which he is.
That they got from Norwich
yeah, the American one, because he's back off international, isn't he?
I'd give him a try. Yeah. I really would. There's no point in bringing him in on loan if you're just not going to play him. You need to see what they can do. Because they reckon he's in the same mould as what Critchlow was. And if you want to play out from
I did like Critchlow. I thought he was all right.
I mean, he had odd mistake in him now and again, which all players do. But I would give him a go. I'd get rid of Taylor. Although, he did have a good game against Wrexham. But
he didn't on Tuesday night, did he?
Tuesday. But I was talking to Wiggy about it, and we both agree. The players I don't think they're fit enough. They're too slow. What's the name? MK Dons were fast as out. I've never seen a team as fast as what they were on Tuesday night. And we had so lethargic and slow.
See, Wrexham was end-to-end stuff, wasn't it? And it didn't seem to look like they were as unfit at Wrexham game, did it?
No, but I think the way MK Dons went about it, they were faster and quicker to every ball. We just looked so lethargic. Now, whether or not it's because we had a tough game on Saturday, but at the end of the day, they're professional footballers. But I just don't think we're fit enough.
So with the MK Dons manager, who was rumoured to come to Bradford City, but obviously we didn't go through with it. Do you think we've missed out on
Robinson,
a manager there?
possibly, yeah. Possibly. I really do. I wouldn't like to say who's going to get the job.
I'm just looking now, see what latest odds are. It's still Danny Cowley, 5-2.
Yeah, but he went
And
Huddersfield
Dean
and did
Holden
nothing.
is at 5-2.
No, I don't want Dean Holden. He's ex-Wimbledon, isn't he?
Previous team, Charlton Athletic. Who's Stephen Clements is up there? He's 6-1. He's third. I don't know who he is.
Never heard of him.
I am. It's
Stephen
on
Clements?
the list.
Let's see what it is, Stephen.
But it doesn't say previous. It doesn't say when he departed his last team or anything. It doesn't say.
Oh, here we go.
About it.
Is it Ray Clemens' son?
Oh, it could be. He's 6-1. Whoever he is.
You see, I'd have gone if I were going to get anybody, and to me, there's only one man that can get us out of this league. But he's an absolute arsehole. I hate him, but he'd do the job. And that's Steve Evans.
Steve Evans, yeah.
Stephen Neil Clements. He's had a senior career at Tottenham, Birmingham, Leicester. He's international England under 18s, 21s. He's only managed at Sheffield Wednesday, and that was a caretaker manager in 2019.
So he's been out of it a while then, hasn't he?
Yeah. But it would be Steve Evans for me. And I think I don't think they'll go for him because of the hatred City fans have got towards him, but there's quite a few people would take him. Whether he'd leave Stevenage or not, I don't know, but he would be my choice.
Oh, Lola, shut up.
He would be my choice. But not everybody's choice. But he would get you out of this league.
So it looks like Callie's barking in corner there with the dog.
Do you know what? It's the idiot setting fireworks off outside. She hates the fireworks.
Put some earmuffs on
her. So Candy Monk, or Cad, I'll just call him Cad. Yeah, Ray's son, and he's not managed yet. Coach at Man City. So that's that Clements guy. On the Stevenage manager, like you're right there, Tony. I think there's a lot of hatred of also what he has done in the club. I don't fancy going into what he's done because I don't fancy getting cancelled. 3 months in, or a couple of months into this podcast, but I personally think hopefully Peter Wild at Barrow, I think he'll do a fantastic job, but we'll probably end up with some unknown person.
I thought he'd gone to MK Johns.
No, that's the guy from Gateshead who you're thinking of.
Sorry.
Williams?
Pete Wild odds are 33-1 at the minute, according to my Google.
Whoever they get, they've got to get it right.
I agree with you on that, 100%.
They've got to get it right because we're just going through managers like a knife through butter lately.
I know we're getting like Leeds.
Oh, that's a swear word, that, Callie.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologise.
That's your first strike, Callie.
That's the first strike, yeah. Getting a ban from Twitter soon.
Oh, she's off again.
They need to get it right this time because otherwise it's just going to become a joke.
Do we all agree, guys, that the list of potential managers is very uninspiring?
Correct. Yes, I'd agree with you on that. Yes, totally.
I honestly don't know who I'd want in because, based on the last few years, we haven't. We've had managers with reputations come in. We've had somebody from the highest echelons, and they haven't done it. I mean, obviously, last year was the closest we've come in recent years, but I honestly, I have no idea who I want from that list.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at myself. Just looking at the odds. Is anyone else seen who's been linked with us? And the only clue is he's a former Bradford City manager and former Salford manager. Apparently, Gary Bowyer again.
No.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Oh,
I wouldn't
no.
have him back, would you? Not
No.
a chance.
33-1.
That's why.
Sol Campbell's 33-1 as well. How crazy is that?
Bloody hell. So who's... So, like, looking at this, you got Phil Parkinson 33-1. Nathan Jones 33-1. Peter Wilder 33-1. Gary Bowyer.
Who's favourite?
Danny Crowley. Crowley.
Cowley.
I need a Cowley. Yeah, 5-2. Dean Holden's 5-2. Stephen Clements 6-1. Graham Alexandra 8-1. Kevin McDonald 10-1. Kyle Robinson 25-1. Gary Bowyer 33-1. Mark Kennedy 33-1. Craig Hignett 33-1. Apparently from Hartlepool.
Yeah.
Lee Bowyer 33-1. Lee Bell, Crew Alexandra, and Liam Richardson 33, and last but not least, Nathan Jones at 33-1. And there's many, many more, but we'll be here all day if I went through every single one. Even Frank Lampard's on this list, 33-1.
I think what the board have to take into account is whoever they bring in, they have a squad of players that are probably on a decent amount of money, and to come in and they have to find somebody that is going to basically play in a similar way to how we're playing now, more of an evolutionary thing rather than a revolution, because otherwise you're going through the cycle again. You know, when we couldn't get anyone, we got Collins in, then so we got a squad of so-called footballers, and then he gets sacked, and then you bring Hopkins in, who is like hoofball.
Legend at Hopkins. I got a picture with him.
I mean, you know, it was obviously the squad that he had wasn't you know, sort of like conducive to his style of play. Then you had, you know, if you're talking Parker, which he's not coming back, he'll you know, again a different type of squad to what he's kind of assembled at Wrexham. So I can't see it myself. I think it's got to be somebody that will kind of take the squad that we have, because obviously then you've got the January window, and then what do you do? Rip up the squad again? I think it's got to be, you know, sort of bring in 2, 3, maybe 4 players in at January to enhance what we got already, in terms of, you know, seeing what's working and what's not working.
So if you were in charge of Bradford, right, as we say, who would you get rid of out of the team? Who would you sell?
Well, assuming it was, I know it's a kind of rhetorical question, but assuming it's straightforward and you can do, I think I'd move the likes of Paddy on, I'd move Taylor on. I'd have to have a, you know, sort of look at the sort of fringe players that aren't kind of anywhere near. You know, I mean, we bought these players in for like 2 or 3 year contracts. I'd probably even get rid of Jake Young. And kind of, I mean, maybe he's not on that much money. I don't know, but yeah, I would bring. I mean, I know we've got Patterson, haven't we, to come back from injury in centre midfield, but I would be looking at least strengthening midfield and offering something as an alternative to Cook. I don't know how far Verdane Oliver's.
I think he's back in training.
Yeah, because obviously,
he wants to stay there and all.
Say again.
He wants to stay in training, does Oliver, because he does. I don't think he brings anything to the team, because him and Cook are identical players, so you couldn't play them together. It may maybe be good for last 20, 25 minutes, maybe. That's my opinion.
No, absolutely right. I think it's almost like he's on. I would imagine he's on too much money for just somebody to come on in the
possibly.
last 20 minutes. You know, to use for that. I think you want to be using him, don't you? Because he was brought in really to kind of be the main man, and then Cook had the season and the start to the season that he did, which kind of kept Oliver on the bench. So, but yeah, I mean, I can't think off the top of my head who's kind of gone in and out, like on loan, etc.
You see, I'd bring Ryan East back.
Oh, 100%.
I would bring Ryan East back because I remember last season he started against Salford away from home because I think Smallwood were away because I think his wife had just given birth to a newborn baby, and he had an exceptional game. Following week, he was dropped back for Smallwood, and I just did not get my head around that.
Yeah, I think that's my, that is one of my major criticisms of Hughes was, I know kind of you all have your own sort of players and stuff, but I think, I've never seen East have a bad game. Put it that way.
He hadn't. He never did. But for some reason, Hughes didn't like playing the young'uns. It's like we say with Poynton.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether with Poynton he's like trying to sort of be one of these like where you manage the game time, etc. But I think Poynton's got the physical attributes to kind of play the amount of games that he's.
Yeah, he's only a kid in here when you think about it, but he does give you that option. He'll give you 100% every game.
Yeah, he's very much a front foot type of player,
Yeah.
and him and Walker, their work rate, and Chapman as well.
Yeah.
In terms of work rate, they absolutely. I mean, you see, that's going to be an interesting forward line, isn't it? Interesting options when Chapman's 100% fit. You got Poynton, you got Walker, you've got Chapman, you've got Tulloch. You sort of like as a kind of forward line and sort of swapping between. So. I think, with the options that we have, I think it's interesting.
I think I've always said it as midfield. We don't have a leader. We haven't had a leader since Gary Jones, in my opinion. He was a leader, and he would get the ball and run forward. For some reason, our midfielders are reluctant to do it.
I do remember, Tony, I'm probably going back to last season. You don't kind of see the players or even the captain. You don't see a lot of that anymore, actually trying to gear them up.
No.
I've not seen that for a while.
No, you're right.
Now you said that.
Did.
I've not seen.
He'd tell you.
Yeah.
If you do something wrong, he would tell you.
Yeah.
He would tell you, would Jones.
He'd be like shouting at him and saying, come on, sort your fucking selves out. Excuse my French. But that's what they'd do. And I haven't seen that for quite a while.
He was a leader. He was captain and he was a leader.
That's right, yeah.
Smallwood isn't a leader. He might have the...
Yeah, Rory McArdle used to do that as well. He and Tony McMahon, they were all like that, weren't they?
That is one thing that we lack. A mouthpiece.
Definitely.
I think one thing as well that that I've noticed is that players don't back themselves. Like taking on a man. There were times on because actually I think Gilead has been that player, especially last season. You'd see him. He'd be kind of giving out instructions and kind of being quite vocal on the field. I think, but there was a point on Tuesday where he's kind of taking or should have taken a player on, and he didn't. And I thought, why don't you back yourself? You're good enough. He's kind of like he's
hesitant.
And I don't know whether it's just because that was how it was for whatever reason on Tuesday night, but I'd like to see that a bit more. That's where kind of players like Bobby are brilliant because they back themselves. And sort of Tulloch kind of sort of like moves the ball forward. He kind of he's got this ability with his feet. Somehow he kind of manages to get the ball out of his feet and kind of take on a man and beat his man. And I would definitely like to see a little more of that in terms of just purely backing yourself.
Yeah, you're right. I think we lack pace. That team just lacks pace compared to some of them MK Dons players overnight. They did have pace, and we were like laboured at times. And that is one thing that we're not blessed with in that team. And Cook's. I still think Cook's overweight. I don't think he's come back 100%. Whatever regime they give him, to stay fit and that. I mean, he's never been blessed with pace as Cook, but there again, he hasn't got Scott Banks this time to put ball in for him. And I think he struggled. I think Cook struggled.
I would agree on your set. I said at the start of the season that Cook looks a bit, or even pre-season, that Cook was looking like the Cook of not quite as bad as he was at Mansfield, but not the lean, mean sort of goal machine he was last summer.
Yeah,
and it doesn't help. It doesn't help the way defenders jump all over him constant either, does it? They always seem to single him out, and I've noticed last few games that they've been ripping his shirt off him nearly and jumping all over him. But strikers should be used to that.
Yeah, you've got to, if the referee gives it, he gives it. If he don't. But yeah, you're
I tell you what, I noticed the difference. The difference between the Wrexham game and the MK Dons game. At the Wrexham game, the players, if a player lost a ball, or there was always another one right behind to back them up, to kind of get it back. That happened quite a lot. But I don't think that wasn't there at MK Dons at all. They weren't. They seemed to back each other up a lot more at Wrexham.
They did.
With the Wrexham game, though, I know we've just got a Wrexham fan join. So if he wants to join in or anything, let us know. Like the Wrexham game, I thought was our playoff final. It seemed like a playoff final or a semi-final game. Everybody were up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
I wonder why. I wonder why that game was so different to the others that we'd not won against.
I think you're right. I think it's down to attitude on Tuesday night, whether it's, whether the kind of, for some reason, the tone is set, isn't it? Like at the start of the game. And I don't know if any of you guys have been or you sort of saw it, but that pitch is massive.
It is.
It is. It's absolutely massive. But like, again, it boils down to the press and how we pressed against Wrexham and how we've pressed against certain teams. We didn't do that against MK Dons. It was like
we give up. They give up, didn't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of them were caught sort of out positionally, and MK Dons' basic movement was better than ours. Their movement off the ball, they seem to have like an extra man on the field. They're basically, and I've said this for about a million years, and I keep repeating myself, but it's kind of like it's the players, your own players' movement off the ball that creates the openings for you, or shifts the game from one side to the other. And the speed of passing between, sort of like passing the ball and the player receiving it to the next pass. That's where we kind of need to speed that up, and when we do that, we play well.
Going back to earlier on, but somebody mentioned about playing in front of massive crowd every other week. Jamie Lawrence picked up on that last season, and he actually said it's so frightening for Bradford players. It's not for away team because they've got no to fear when they come. They're not used to playing in them kind of crowds. But he says even when he played at Premiership, he says it's frightening. And
do you think it puts a lot of pressure on them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It does.
So going in, sorry, I'll let you finish, Johnny.
And that's what he said. The pressure on them players' shoulders to perform, because they know if they don't, the crowd. We know our crowd can turn on a bloody sixpence. And
Yeah.
I actually believe what Jamie Lawrence said. When you come out of that touchline, when you run out of changing rooms and you see the vast amount of support that's inside that ground, and they think to themselves, God, if we don't perform today,
we're going to get
and
shit.
I think that's a lot to do with when we're at home, because they're expected to turn it on week in and week out at home, and
Yeah.
it's a big ask. It really is. There's now, like tomorrow, we've got to Sutton tomorrow, and we might only play in front of 3,000, and pressure's off.
I think, Tony, going on what you were saying, I think not so much the size of the crowds, although there's probably an element of that, but I think you summed it up, that the crowd turns on a sixpence.
They do.
Mm.
And you know, it's like, you know, sort of players are then, it's not so much the amount of people out there, but if you're basically a missed pass or whatever, or even passing back and building up from the back, you know, I mean, you know, you're getting booed by your own fans. You know, we are fickle as fans. We definitely are. I believe the fans have, controversial opinion, but have had a part in the way this season's gone as well. I think the atmosphere has been awful in terms of a kind of a nasty element in the crowd at some of the games, but you know, sort of with the crowd. So it's no wonder really that these players are basically scared to.
That's it. They're scared to make a mistake.
Yeah.
So last couple of minutes, guys. So Callie, final thoughts, score prediction, and goal scorers.
I said I'll stick to what I said at the beginning. I think I'm going for a 3-1 win to us, and I think Bobby Poynton's going to score, and Walker. I think Walker's due a goal, and Cookie.
Stan?
I'm not going to predict, but I think
staying on fence again.
Yeah. It's not so much that. Anyway, I think it's yeah. This will sort of be a test for the actual how we respond to that and how Kev responds to Tuesday night. It's not the defeat, but the game after, in it, that you kind of find out about the team and about the manager. So I think that'll be interesting. But I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't really be comfortable.
Tony?
I'm going 2-0. Cook both of them.
Okay. Right.
But you know what it is tomorrow, don't you?
Oh. What is it?
Oh, sorry. Don't you say something, Tony? Oh, has he gone off? Tony?
Oh, he can't leave us on that cliffhanger.
Oh, can. Oh.
That's it. Sorry. There's something wrong. It's the same old thing with Bradford City. When over years when we played teams that's on a poor run or been bottom at league and haven't won a bloody game for weeks on end. And the MK Dons
then we lose
same.
to them.
They're same tomorrow. And you know what happens. But I think we'll do it. We'll do them tomorrow. 2-0.
I do. I think we'll come back. I think we're going to come back fighting. I think McDonald will have got them sorted out, and give him a rollicking.
Because it's a long way to go to watch your team get beat.
It is, isn't it? I can't make it tomorrow, but I'll be there. I'll be watching it on iFollow.
So Christian, who's a Wrexham fan, I'll say 2-0 to your guys. We found them hard to break down for some reason. We're not scoring at the minute. So just hit that button there. And thank you for everybody for listening, wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Also, it'll be a podcast later on in probably the next hour or so. Also, like us on the Bradford City Up the Chickens on Facebook. Also, the Braceodge on YouTube. Thank you and good night.